Three, two, one, and we are recording. We are live, not on Twitch yet. Our game session doesn't start for another 20 minutes, but we are starting a little bit early here on HeroQuest Fans Discord. You can see at the bottom of your screen, you're actually welcome to join us if you're watching us on Discord, HeroQuest Fans Discord. Shout out to all the people who are reporting news bright and early. So shout out to Ribby at Bourbon and Board Games on YouTube. Shout out to Dungeon Master on YouTube. Lots of other people are commenting. I'm sure you'll be seeing Cristobal at LaGuardia de Morcar. You'll be seeing Amalgamash at AshQuest. You'll be seeing Elviler on elviler.com. So many other people. Sir Death Vids will be getting in on it. Just if you search HeroQuest Jungles of Delthrak, you're going to get result after result after result. And this is the new cover. So finally we have a real cover after looking at this fake cover for ages. And about the only things we have in common, the real cover with the old fake cover from Pixie Games pre-order was the fact that there's a general amount of jungle-like foliage around and some type of stone temple or ruin in the background. Otherwise, completely different. Now, folks have commented that the fake cover did have pictures of what appeared to be dwarven type miniatures in gray in the corners, which was really weird. But nevertheless, no more wondering, no more worrying. Here it is. So at Modena Play in Italy, Doug Hopkins from Avalon Hill was there, and he revealed the stuff. Now, we have a transcript that was posted by Ribby. Now, Dungeon Master had the actual video footage. You can check that out. I'll be posting that up later on, but you can watch that on his channel. So he was up there, Doug Hopkins was, and of course he's the guy who's been writing the, does the rule write-ups, game mechanics for HeroQuest. So as we've known, Jungles of Delthrak is an original expansion. So this is the second one. And yes, this, just like Talisman 5th Edition, was completed while Carmine, aka Chris Nato, was the head of Avalon Hill, so in charge of the HeroQuest design team. So we can expect his creative direction and stamp of approval is on it. As far as First Light, we don't have that same notion. We have heard from potentially reliable sources that First Light, HeroQuest First Light, this alleged starter pack or new beginning for HeroQuest franchise, was maybe in the planning stages when Chris Nato and Bill Mort, aka Avalon Bill, were still with the company, but it wasn't something that they worked on. So now my thought is, as long as the team was given the freedom to do what they do and, not interfered with by higher ups at Hasbro, it's probably going to be all right. But I guess we'll see. We'll see if that same level of quality continues or if it clashes with what came before. So hopefully it's not a big deal, but we'll see. Now, if, as we suspect, it's kind of an optional thing, it won't necessarily be a problem, even if it were kind of like a one-off that's like different. I mean, if it sells well, I'm sure they'll do other type starter packs. I can picture a lot of that sort of thing happening with HeroQuest, just like it has with Warhammer. It was very encouraging to see that Talisman 5th Edition is still a Games Workshop product. Games Workshop, of course, makers of Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40k, working together with Hasbro for the first time in at least 4 years officially. So that makes me think, hey, cool, maybe we can see future collaborations. Maybe they'll do something really cool like Official Chaos Warriors. I know people say Fimir will never come back, but who knows, right? We had the Fomorian Warriors, or Fim, Nobles, with Forge World, which I guess was bought out by Warhammer 40k. I don't know, just the idea of Space Crusade coming back. Battlemaster's coming back. I mean, none of this is proven. All this is speculation and wishful thinking by me at this point, but it's a positive sign. Hey, if these two companies are working together, they like working together, maybe something could happen, and maybe, just maybe, we would get these other products remade, and they wouldn't be just a one-off, limited time kind of thing. Because Games Workshop brought back the old world, they brought back 40K Rogue Trader. For how long, who knows? But anyway, back to Jungles of Delthrak. So this appears to be, I mean, they showed the box. It looks to be about the same size as against the Ogre Horde. It's confirmed. Once again, all this information that we got from Pixie Games, other than the box, seems to be confirmed. So there's going to be 16 quests, and it's going to be these are Doug's words, choose your own adventure style of quest campaign. So in other words, you choose your path. So I'm just thinking you play it through one way and you go play a certain number of quests. You play it through another way, you play another number of quests. So if there's 16 quests, I guess I'm guessing it's actually a 10 quest adventure. But depending on your choices, you're going to play some of them and you're going to leave other ones unplayed. Now, as always, as we know, Zargon can do whatever he wants. So if the players, miss something and they just want to replay it, or not have to replay the whole thing, just see what was there, sure, why not? If one's like objectively just way more fun than another, why not pick that one? But I do notice that the other 100% original HeroQuest expansion, Rise of the Dread Moon, which was acknowledged to be based largely on fan feedback, that one seems to be designed with replay in mind. I mean, there's a lot of places where, if you get a wandering monster, but you're in this condition, you get this monster, you get a different monster if you're in another condition. If you've got a reputation token to spend, you get this result in this particular room. If you don't spend it, you get this other result. If you've got a lunar charm in this situation, you get one result versus the other. So there was lots of like little things. It didn't necessarily mean that, you're going to like lose. You wouldn't play a whole different quest, but you might get a different encounter. In one case, you might have an easier time. Another, you might have it harder. You might get a nice reward, or you might not. I mean, the original HeroQuest had some of that, too. I mean, if you don't search every room, you're not going to find every single thing, right? You're only going to get the reward if Sir Ragnar hits the stairs alive, not if he gets killed. So there was, some variety there, but now there's definitely, like, whole new quests. And Doug's statements, as anyone can read for themselves, of course, have also been confirming what we've been seeing. I mean, these characters that you see on the front are good guys, but are they playable heroes? Are they hero characters? Because we know there's 2 new heroes in the package, but he confirmed that they are not the characters you see on the cover in this picture are not the dwarf and the barbarian, as a lot of people were saying. But he said, well, they might be dwarf and barbarian adjacent. It's like, okay, what does that mean? Now, so many of us were thinking the female dwarf is going to be included in this pack. But what if she isn't? Does that mean that there's going to be another dwarf pack somewhere else? Now, the pre-order pages have mentioned connections with Keller's Keep. Dwarves from Keller's Keep and the World's End Mountains, or World Edge Mountains in the original lore, are needing to be rescued, and there are allies that you can get. So my first thought was, oh, there's going to be dwarf mercenaries, basically, this time. So maybe there's a female one, maybe there's a male one. But are these both dwarves, or is one of them not a dwarf? It's kind of hard to tell. Now, we see a whole bunch of treasure. We see a whole bunch of giant spiders. Now, giant spiders as a character were never an official part of HeroQuest, but they were planned to be. So the Wizard Quest pack, the Sinister Sorcerers, which was planned for either late 1992 or sometime in 1993, but it got canceled. It was never completed. It was like 90% done. Milton Bradley, Hasbro, was working on it at the time. Luca Pasci has shown many people the draft notes. We know that included giant spiders. How big were the giant spiders? Well, they were thought to be basically a 1 square monster, so not anything like, outlandish. Of course, we know Avalon Hill has kind of done what they do. Sometimes they make characters that are bigger than they were before, so we've had the Frozen Horror with taking up 4 squares. We've had the ogres, the ogre bosses, and against the ogre horde taking up 2 squares on the board instead of just 1. These particular spiders, though, just if we're looking at the scale of the artwork on the box, and you can't always 100% trust that to translate exactly into the game because some of this is your imagination. I mean, we saw Sir Ragnar depicted a certain way on the Rise of the Dreadmoon box, and he's nowhere in the box in plastic form like that. You're just expected to use a Chaos Warrior, although you could use the helmeted Guardian Knight included very easily as well, which some of us would do anyway. So here you get a spider that looks to be at least the size of a dwarf, maybe even the size of a barbarian here. So they're pretty big. They've got 8 legs. They've got kind of a lamprey kind of face, pretty nasty looking, and they've got webs. So what would their powers be? Who knows? I mean, do they have poison? Do they have webs? Lots of things you can guess about. There's also some sort of giant snake or serpent type creature. It doesn't look like a dragon unless it's like supposed to be a spin-off on a Chinese dragon. I don't see any beard on it or anything, but it's got a hood of some kind. They kind of look like elephant ears or kind of like a frilled lizard, but it's split in half. Sometimes you see dragons depicted that way, but you clearly see the fangs of like a venomous serpent. So, giant snake of some kind. There's no precedent in that in past HeroQuest that I can recall. There's also this is like Godzilla versus Kong here. You've got an ape, a gorilla of some kind, and he's got a necklace on that has like a chunk of, I don't know, a tooth, a green tooth, or a gem of some kind, and it looks like he's got some sort of weapon in his hand. Is that a club? Is it an axe? It's kind of hard to see because the HeroQuest logo covers it up. So yeah, I don't recall any ape monsters previously. So if this is meant to be using remnants of the Dwarf Quest pack, I don't think so. I think the only thing in common would be potentially the evil dwarves or dwarf allies of some kind. And I don't think this is yeah, it's wholly new. So Doug did say this was something that they were intending to appeal to the fans, the hardcore fans, the classic fans, not just attracting brand new players. So of course they're going for that. And he has had some nice, kind things to say, saying, "Hey, we're listening to the fans," and we've seen him, respond very cordially to questions and comments that people have left on the Avalon Hill Discord. So Doug Hopkins, aka Wandering Monster, he's definitely putting all the diplomacy forward, so we appreciate that. And I don't doubt that he's sincere, which is great. So good stuff there. And he's known to joke around as well, so maybe some of his things are kind of a little teases, but we like that game. Some people pointed out that maybe his salt and pepper beard and eyebrows make him kind of look like the character on the front. Who's to say? I mean, I thought that the Athraean character in the companion app looked like Bill Mort, but nobody was able to confirm that. But who knows, right? There could be all kinds of Easter eggs in these games. But anyway, that was the Heroes Quest fans Discord. Bohemius brought that up. Suggestion. I heard another suggestion, which was maybe that the orc bard, was patterned after Doug Hopkins, but who's to say? Okay, so yeah, there's some news about Gen Con. So the free Avalon Hill panel talking about HeroQuest was canceled, and in its place they put in, instead of a free one, it's a $10 ticket for a 2-hour HeroQuest new quest pack. It says short description: can't get enough, you're in luck, brave adventurer. Amalgamash is going to love that. Answer the call once again. You'll have the opportunity to be one of the first to experience an all-new and original quest pack. Oh, come on. It's Jungles of Delthrak, right? Kicking off HeroQuest, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The first experience an all-new and original quest pack dropping August 1st. Oh, so it's releasing on August 1st. There we go. So the first day of Gen Con is also the first day of Jungle of Delthrak. Okay, so that tells me that people will be able to buy it at the convention. And people who are waiting with their pre-order, you go ahead and do that. By the way, if you're hearing our music, that is Carl Casey at White Bat Audio. Shout out to him on YouTube. So yeah, we're looking at the Gen Con website. So tomorrow at noon, so that's May 19th. Tomorrow at noon, they are going to be turning on registration for events, I've been told. So that means I'll be at work. And then they'll hold the stuff for 2 hours. So I'm going to lose my place on everything I've signed up for. Darn it. But keeping in mind, last year, I wasn't signed up for anything. I mean, I had my main ticket, and that was it. So I just bought a bunch of generic tickets, which I didn't even spend all of those. And I spent my time at the convention just wandering around, talking to people, looking at demos, just waiting for a spot to open up. And I got in a few games with different people. I had a blast. It was great. This year, I do want to do the Warhammer 40K laser tag. I'm hoping to do that with a few people at noon. If that fills up, I'm going to be disappointed. But they offered it all kinds of other times too. And the thing is, if one of you guys gets in to this panel and I don't, hey, you can be my eyes and ears. You're welcome. Take the exclusive, get the reporting done. Point is, we get it out there to the fans from a fan perspective. That's what we want. So if you can get in there, ask your questions. I mean, I'll be happy to hand people questions if you can get in. I'm hoping, though, that we can do our own guerrilla reporting after that. But yeah, it says Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's in Hall E, Avalon Hill. Email address, thebaldman at Baldman Games. Gotta love that. Okay. So anyway, that was the reporting, and thanks to Rob Champ for reporting that news. I'm sure others are bringing the stuff around as we speak. So lots of great commentary from people like Bohemius, Verg, Ribby. I'm sure lots of people are chiming in on this sort of thing. So thank you for bringing this up. I had some other events going on. I went and saw the Transformers. They were shown in theaters, the original 84 version. They actually had the recording of the voice actors, like reprising their roles, like redoing the voiceovers on the very first episode. So that was kind of fun. Frank Welker and all the rest. I especially liked, I forget his name already, but the actor who voices Starscream, he really hammed it up with Megatron and Optimus Prime. And yeah, there have been some of those guys from the original cast have passed away. You know, Scatman Crothers and Casey Kasem, and like I think there was 2 others who had done voices on the original show. So it wasn't 100%, but they definitely added a little something extra to it. And then they had the other 3 episodes after the original pilot in the theater. So that was cool. So, and yes, Hasbro. It's all Hasbro. And then they had like a blooper reel, but thankfully they did that afterwards. I thought maybe they would distract from they'd be breaking character, but they didn't. They just had a bunch of bloopers at the end, and then they went on to the next episode, and it was without the extra live quote unquote commentary. But anyway, we're looking at Jungles of Delthrak here, and I'm going to pull up another screen. I know I saw it for pre-order on Amazon. Cheers to Dead Gamer out there. Well, when I said I know I saw it, no, my memory's bad. I was thinking of Talisman 5th edition. Jungles of Delthrak is not on Amazon yet. Let's see if it's on Hasbro Pulse. I doubt it's up there yet. They probably won't put it up there until it's time for pre-orders. Which, I wonder when those will be. I mean, I don't like to pre-order stuff, as you know. Not since the Guardian Knight debacle. Especially if it's a retail product. It's like, I know I'm going to get it. Why would I worry about that sort of thing. I know I'm not going to get it any faster or any cheaper. We don't have to worry about it selling out. I mean, if you're in the U.S., you have the best chance of getting it. I'm sorry to say that it's not equal across the board. Because Hero Quest was, back in the day, back in the 90s, was a game that was released in a lot of countries. But I'm really pleased. I did some research thanks to some people suggesting it, and actually Hero Quest is available in more languages than you think. So just give you some examples here. So you think of the 5 languages: English, Spanish, German, Italian, French, right? So you got the UK, you've got Germany, Italy, Canada, excluding Quebec, the United States, France, Spain. But actually, there's others. So if you go to Hasbro Consumer Care and you look up game instructions and you play around with the countries and the languages, you can see, okay, Great Britain/UK has 5 PDFs listed. What are the PDFs? Well, these are digital versions of the quest books, the instructions. So it doesn't include the cards or the boxes or anything like that, hero sheets or anything. But it does, it's like, well, why would they have these if they didn't sell the product in that country, or they were planning to sell it in that country? There's like a reason that it's available. So you can download these instructions and print them off for free. So, okay, UK has 5: Prophecy of Telor, Rise of the Dread Moon, Spirit Queen's Torment, the Game System, and Mage of the Mirror. Okay, so we're just talking about English here. New Zealand, same, also English. Rise of the Dread Moon. Australia has 4. That's Prophecy of Telor, Rise of the Dread Moon, Return of the Witch Lord, and Spirit Queen's Torment. I know we got to get our game started here soon, but I just want to finish this up. Canada, in English, has 6. Game System in 2 different file sizes: Prophecy of Telor, Return of the Witch Lord, Rise of the Dread Moon, Spirit Queen's Torment. And of course, the USA has 9. 2 sizes: the Game System, Prophecy of Telor, Rise of the Dread Moon, Return of the Witch Lord, Spirit Queen's Torment, Mage of the Mirror, Keller's Keep, Frozen Horror. So that's English. Now, if you want these in French, France has the Game System, Return of the Witch Lord, and Rise of the Dread Moon. Canada, French, has 3: Rise of the Dread Moon, Prophecy of Telor, and Spirit Queen's Torment. Now, there is an error, because if you go to France and change it to Game System, it says it's French, but when you download it, you actually get the Italian Game System. Whoops. So I reported that on the Avalon Hill Discord. We'll see if they fix it. I know that when Frozen Horror first came out, the supposedly English Frozen Horror PDF of the instruction, the quest pack, you downloaded it and it's German, and it was that way for like 2 months before they fixed it. So the Germans had it first. I mean, digitally. You buy it and you've got it in paper format. But I mean, if you wanted a digital copy to look at, it tended to be like, okay, 2 months after release, they put it out there. Of course, you get the companion app, same thing. But the companion app doesn't show you the stuff from Zargon's perspective. You need the quest book either in physical form or the PDF to be able to play as Zargon. Otherwise, you're just making it up. You have no idea how to use the stuff as intended. So then you've got German. So in Germany has 8 entries in Hasbro Consumer Care: Return of the Witch Lord, Keller's Keep, Frozen Horror, Prophecy of Telor, Spirit Queen's Torment, Game System, Mage of the Mirror, Against the Ogre Horde. And they're the only ones with Against the Ogre Horde so far, although I haven't checked yet today, so I could be wrong. Switzerland has 2 listings in German for the Game System and Mage of the Mirror. If you go to Italian, Italy has 2, Return of the Witch Lord and Frozen Horror. And then, of course, the Game System, because it's mislabeled under French. Spanish. So for this one, Spain has nothing listed for digital instructions. But if you change it to Mexico for Spanish, you get Rise of the Dread Moon. So it's kind of interesting there. But check this out. So here are the languages that you'd think were not officially supported, but they are. Danish. So if you change your region and language to Denmark, you get 3. You get Game System, Return of the Witch Lord, Rise of the Dread Moon. Finnish, so you can change to Finland, you get 2. Return of the Witch Lord, Rise of the Dread Moon. Swiss, change it to Switzerland, you've got 4. Game System, Mage of the Mirror, and then 2 in German, because you've got Swiss and German, the 2 languages there for Switzerland on the website. And again, this is all connected with Hasbro Pulse. Swedish, so Sweden has 2, Return of the Witch Lord and Rise of the Dread Moon. Norwegian, Norway has 2, Return of the Witch Lord, Rise of the Dread Moon. Are we seeing a pattern here? Greek, so Greece has 3, Keller's Keep in 2 sizes, and Return of the Witch Lord. So you might think, okay, maybe certain expansions were just more popular in those languages. Now, Polish is an interesting one. There's nothing listed for Poland, but if you go into the companion app, you'll notice the HeroQuest board game companion, the official one, version 3.0. As of 3.0, which you can get on Android and iPhone, or iOS rather, all the voice acting is in English. But you can change the language in the settings menu, and it changes the in-game text, including now, which they didn't have before, the text that's on the visual representations of the cards. So if you pull up like the spell cards for the wizard, now it'll actually show the text on the card as that language. So you've got, as expected, French, Spanish, German, Italian, English, and Polish. So if you read Polish, you can do it with a companion app. Now, again, I don't know if this means that HeroQuest is actually being sold in Poland, Greece, Norway, Sweden, Switzerland, Finland, and Denmark in the majority language of those countries, but it's a good sign. And it's not just the Monk and Rise of the Dread Moon that are in those languages. It looks like we see Return of the Witch Lord quite a bit. It's not just the game system. So I just think that bodes well for the future of HeroQuest, that they are selling it in other countries and other languages besides just the main ones. And really, I was thinking, historically, HeroQuest was available in all those languages officially. It was also sold in Brazil, so in the Portuguese language, and that was the only other HeroQuest version that used the North American style rules. So like the Brazilian version and the US version were the same. Just the languages were different, and Brazil cut some corners by using more cardboard instead of plastic for some of the furniture and all of the character miniatures. And like the armory board was a series of sketch type representations of the, drawing representations of the things you buy in the armory at the end. They put it at the end of the instruction booklet, so the rule book. So they saved some money there. Nowadays, would they have? I don't know. But yeah, if you find little like door bases that look smaller than the normal plastic door bases that you find in classic HeroQuest, those are probably from the Brazilian version. So the Brazilian version was done by Estrela, and according to the internet, there's some type of legal battle going on with distribution of board games between Estrela and Hasbro. We don't have any updated information on it, but that maybe is the reason why we don't see the Brazil version being sold yet. So I hope they get that worked out. Then there is Takara. Takara was the publisher of HeroQuest in Japan, so in Japanese. And that's the really cool one that had almost a completely brand new 14 quest campaign, different artifacts, different storyline. I mean, apparently set in the same world, but like in a totally different part of the world that we hadn't seen before in the world of HeroQuest. So Nifon Island, which is like Japan. So that'd be kind of cool to see. But anyway, so we don't see Japanese, we don't see Portuguese, and we don't see Hebrew. So there was a version released in Israel, very hard to find, which appears to be based on the first and second Europe version of the European rules. So there was a first edition in 1989 and a second edition in 1990, and they were combined into one in the Israeli Hebrew version, which is really rare, but thanks to Hispazargon and some other people, we see scans of it now. And if you can read it, you can figure out. There was kind of an issue with reading left to right versus right to left, that we think the quest maps were upside down, basically, in the quest book, in the Hebrew version. But anyway, yeah, so other than Hebrew, Portuguese, and Japanese, I think they've covered all the languages that HeroQuest was in the classic era in the 1990s. Now, is every single expansion in every single language? I don't think that's the case. I think the hero collections are the hardest ones to find. I think the Rogue Heir of Elathorn is only in English still. And I'm not sure about the Monk, but it looks like with the Path of the Wandering Monk and Rise of the Dread Moon, they've tried to put it in all the languages. But the PDFs on the Hasbro Consumer Care are just kind of a clue, not necessarily a statement that, yeah, all these are available. Because back in the day, not every country got every expansion. All of them got the game system. Some of them got Keller's Keep. Some of them got Keller's Keep and Return of the Witch Lord. Some of them got those two plus Against the Ogre Horde and Mage of the Mirror. And then I think North America, the US, was the only one that got Frozen Horror and Mage of the Mirror, the Elf Quest Pack, Barbarian Quest Pack. But yes, someday I would love to see all of the countries and languages that were covered in the original period to finally be fulfilled. So all those pockets of fans that are out there waiting for their HeroQuest can finally get it. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. And even after the companion app is no longer supported and goes offline, whatever that'll be, maybe in 2027, we don't know when, people can still get the stuff and play it. Also, if you go to Hasbro Consumer Care, you can also click on game refills, and you can actually find it's an English PDF of the remake HeroQuest character sheet. It's just a single sheet, though. It's not like the 4 that you see in a lot of other like fan websites. But still, it's nice that they put that up there. But why not for other languages? I don't see it for the other languages. So anyway, that's all the coverage we have. I think, oh no, wait, I'm sorry. There is one more thing. So looking at that language stuff, let's just take another look at the things that Doug Hopkins was saying. So this is the transcript. Oh yes, shout out of course to, I knew I forgot somebody, HeroQuest Italia on YouTube. This is HeroQuest Grog. They featured some footage as well of Doug Hopkins' commentary. And I need to fix the link here. Fix that here. Yeah, I think it's around, yeah, the 27-minute mark when Dungeon Master covers it. I want to say it's like the 14-minute mark or the 16-minute mark where you get his comments. But here's the transcript of what Doug Hopkins was saying. So, Doug Hopkins on introducing the new quest pack. For the first time in HeroQuest, we're going to give you a choose-your-own-adventure style quest. There are 16 quests in this book. You will go on a 10-quest storyline with your team. We really wanted you to have a story that you could share with other people who go through the quest book in a completely different way, so that you can say how you completed the Jungles of Delthrak, and I can talk about how I completed the Jungles of Delthrak, and we can judge each other a little bit, you know. If you don't make the right decisions, that's one of the key beats for this, one of the key features. And so he does it back and forth. The other guy like interprets what he's saying in Italian. You might notice there are some new monsters on this box. I can tell you that that's not the dwarf hero, nor is that a barbarian hero. When asked about the differences between remixing an old quest pack versus making a new one from scratch, Doug Hopkins said, quote, "I will say that there's a lot of similarities. I still want our super fans, the people who play our game, to love what we give them. When we restore an old quest, that is something that exists. But when you do something new, you want people to be excited about it. but you get to take it to a different place. I thought jungles were perfect for that sword and sorcery vibe. We old school players tend to quest in that in our games, so I thought it would be a great opportunity to bring this to you for HeroQuest, end quote. Asked about the Italian and the world community of HeroQuest, Doug said, quote, the best thing about HeroQuest is the fans. So, word to the bard there. Quote, since I started this, I've got nothing but love and passion and respect from the fan community. It is so amazing. I hope that you see that I listen to all of you. When you ask for things, we give it to you. Continue to use that voice. Ask us. Tell us what you want. Ask us for what you trying to find in your game, and the Avalon Hill team will take opportunities to put them in our games, end quote. And then the question was asked, is the new hero a ranger or not? Doug says, quote, since we released the character packs, people have been asking for powers and skills for the dwarf and barbarian. I don't want to give you that because I want you to play the dwarf and the barbarian in your game. I don't want you to feel like they're replaced because those heroes are great as they are. So you'll find in this some heroes that may be adjacent to those, but are not those heroes, that you can play with those heroes. Again, we listened to what you wanted. We want to give you something very close to those characters, but not be those characters, so that you can play those characters in the game together. So, two dwarfs, for example. I mean, we need, quote, all dwarf party, end quote, at point, I think. I can't answer the original question, but I'll give you a little bit of insight into my inspiration, end quote. Questioner asks, is this character on the box an old character or something completely new? Doug says, quote, this is a completely new character, end quote. Questioner asks, why are we as heroes going to the jungle? Why did you choose to have this expansion take place in the jungle? Doug says, quote, we want to give the characters in the story of HeroQuest their, we want to reveal more of the story of these characters in HeroQuest. So there's a story about why you're going to the jungle. This expansion will peel back the curtain a little bit on that story, end quote. So that's basically it. There's a lot I can't reveal yet. Thanks, Ribby. This is reposted from HeroQuest fans Discord. And again, a transcript of what the interviewers at Medina Play were doing with Doug early this morning. So there again is the image. Ah, yes, this is Dungeon Master. So Mateo apparently was the one recording this. You got the guys displaying the image there of the box. It's HeroQuest Grog. So yeah, it's like, yeah, launching August 2024. Timing varies by language and market. HeroQuest Jungles of Delthrak Quest Pack is our second wholly original release. I believe this is Instagram that we're reading now. With epic adventure-inspiring art, this upcoming release ventures into dangerous jungles where a powerful dwarven relic, interesting, has been stolen, and something nefarious has infected the land. Is it the Hammer of Hadrakar? That might be a tie to the unreleased Dwarf Quest Pack. Now, that makes me wonder, what other dwarfy type stuff is in here? Does the dwarf get an artifact that boosts his body and mind points, like the elf and the barbarian got? Who knows? Just because they're not giving him extra skill cards to use doesn't mean he can't have other bonuses. Maybe potions only he can use. Who's to say? But anyway, back to the quotation here from Avalon Hill. Something nefarious has infected the land. Investigate the blight and uproot the curse in this expansion, featuring a choose-your-own-adventure mechanic with 16 never-before-seen quests, brand new characters, and highly detailed miniatures. Good deal. All right, let's look at some of the comments people have left. Wow, amazing. Cannot wait for this. Fantastic. Xerxes, I'm excited that we're finally getting more monsters that aren't just a different flavor of humanoid. Aside from the mythic tier dragon, we only have what? The wolves from Age of the Mirror? I'm a little bummed that the dwarf and barbarian will never get their own ability cards from how that interview sounds, but I'm always down for more HeroQuest. Ribby says, hell yes. Luca Rock says, looks cool. Glad to finally have some gorillas or spiders in HeroQuest. I hope we get the A-Bomb King or whatever they said. Oh, Abomination King? Didn't think the snake fits the bounds. And Dungeon Master says, welcome to the jungle. So, thanks for those comments, everyone. Let's see if there's any other comments we need to cover here. We'll be starting our stream here shortly. Thanks for everyone's patience. Yeah, this is just me talking about Talisman 5th edition. That one will be $60. It seems a little expensive for the number of miniatures you get, but I guess Talisman, you've got more characters to choose from than actually you can play as in the game. So just for variety's sake, they're not painted, and you've got plastic coins. I'm not sure what else is plastic, but Talisman is a really popular game, and it's Games Workshop. Let's see. Not seeing a lot of other comments. I need to cover. Oh yeah, another question. Can we expect to see out equipment, treasure, artifact, and alchemy decks grow? Yeah, everybody wonders that too. Again, the tendency has been though that other than the elf and barbarian packs, all the expansions basically only assume that you have the original, the game system. Although story wise, yeah, you can definitely see a connection between Mage of the Mirror and Rise of the Dreadmoon. But I mean, you could play one without the other. It's not like they have to be connected or you have to play one before the other. Yeah, Luca Rocks mentions Levi Combs was one of these folks on Twitter X who said he worked on Jungles of Delthrak. Of course, he couldn't tell us anything about it at the time. Now, we do know that there are these 3 strengths cards or forces cards that are included with Jungles of Delthrak, but we don't know what they mean. Although I think Bohemius' theory was that they're probably for the other dwarf characters, not for the heroes, but well, or no. Either we have a new hero that has 3 skill cards, or maybe they're like order cards for the mercenaries. If there's dwarf mercenaries in the box, dwarf companions, whatever they are. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for watching. Bohemius, did you have any closing comments about Jungles of Delthrak? I mean, I had to catch up on all this stuff, all your
No,
wonderful
I don't have
reporting.
closing comment. I can talk for like another hour
Another
about
hour.
it.
Did I?
But
I didn't. I hope
no,
I
I
didn't
mean
misquote any
about
of
the
your
cards.
theories. Yeah, go ahead. Say it.
About the cards, no, just saying that they are just for the new hero, not
Oh, okay.
related. Okay, because from the words of Doug,
Yes.
he said that he don't want to give cards to the old barbarian or dwarf. So these new cards are for the new hero. I believe this new hero is going to be like an adventurer, generic enough, okay, but they can cover the spot for the barbarian or the dwarf.
Yeah,
Okay,
that makes a certain
it's
amount
an
of sense.
alternate. I
Yeah.
see them like alternate dwarf and alternate barbarian.
Uh,
Mm.
yeah. So
Do you
like,
see them there? Like,
yeah, I get what you're saying because I mean the barbarian is human, the wizard is human,
yes,
but then they just have dwarf,
uh,
and you just have elf.
yeah,
It's not well.
and
This is an elven warrior. This is an elven mage. This is a
no,
dwarven adventurer.
yeah,
Yeah.
but the big guy with the axe, really, they made the art too close to. It's too similar to Doug. Really, same color of the beard.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, he's a
same
wandering
nose.
monster, so what does it mean? Is he trying to
I
sneak up on the
I
one that's
think
opening the treasure chest? But then the no,
I think it's
they're
heavily
allies.
inspired a lot. Love it. If you see the
Yeah.
side by side, really, it's uncanny.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, a little Easter eggs like that amuse me, so I don't mind if they insert themselves into the story as long as it's good fun. You got to A lot of artists do that though. They use a model when they're creating a fantasy character or even a portrayal of like a historical figure. They'll just like, well, I need
Yes,
something
at least,
to work off of, and maybe as a tribute to
yeah.
the to that person, it's like put a few touches.
But if he is really a dog, I wonder who's the girl.
Yeah, does that? There were 2 women on the Avalon
Is
Hill team that I remember from Gen Con, but doesn't look
we're going to
super.
investigate.
Yeah, I'll have to figure it out. Yeah, excellent. Okay, well, I think we need to go live on Twitch because we're past our time to get started, and I definitely want to play some Rise of the Dread Moon tonight here. So let me get Carl Casey going again, and we'll start her up. We'll just do a little BRB first. Welcome to HeroQuest fans. We are live once again on Twitch. We are getting ready here to play Rise of the Dreadmoon. We got started a little bit late because I was talking about Jungles of Delthrak at Modena Play. We now have the box cover. I'll just show that really quick once again for anybody who missed it. And they've canceled the free panel and give us a $10 presentation at Gen Con instead about the new quest pack. The new original quest pack. Oops, that's not the right picture. That's the alleged connection between Doug Hopkins and one of these cover characters. So here, once again, is Jungles of Delthrak, the new all-original large box expansion expected August 1st. So I'm guessing it'll be sold at the convention at Gen Con this year. And then we don't know the first thing about HeroQuest First Light. I don't think anything was said at all. Did you hear anything, Bohemius?
Nobody asked. Okay, but my guess is going to be the new pack in Gen Con.
So the new thing that they show us. So it's like, well, of course you're buying this one, and here's the next one. It's the next teaser.
I guess it's going to. Well, they're following the same pattern of last year, so it really could be. Okay, and they're going to give something in Spiel and something else in Spiel in Essen Spiel.
Yeah, Spiel Essen. Yeah, love it.
Spiel Essen.
See, I was so out of it when somebody said that. I'm like, meal eating? What are you talking about? You're gonna have a meal in Germany? I don't understand. Say, oh no, it's a huge convention. They're gonna drop all kinds of news on you. Oh, now I'm on board. Now I understand. Essen, yeah. Like
my guess is that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you light is. Well, after you give me some clues extra about it, if you like it's going to be exactly a starter set, like you said, like an easy game, fast of HeroQuest, maybe with less elements, maybe with an updated rule book.
Yeah.
In a way, they don't force the people they already have everything to buy something they already got. So maybe a new little expansion that can be played like a solo quest. Imagine only with one hero or two heroes, no more.
Yeah.
I can imagine it like this, or without even a board, maybe just with tiles that can be used for
a smaller board
side by side. We need extra doors, so
yeah, we definitely need
open and close doors.
Well, and this will be definitely for another conversation as we get closer. But definitely, I'm sure there's doubts in people's minds, some people's minds, and there's some doubts in my mind too. A fear that maybe, well, is the existence of something like First Light going to somehow jeopardize the existence of the game system? Is this going to be some attempt to replace it or dumb it down or change the storyline? So. You know, and yeah, I don't think so either. I think the current guys that are on the team, the Avalon Hill team, wouldn't do that to us. I don't think that's what the fans want. And I think if the company is smart, they wouldn't do that. Now, the only fear, again, or doubt is that what if somebody at Hasbro Gaming decides, yeah, let's just do that. Let's make HeroQuest simpler, more generic. Let's change the story. So hopefully that's not the case, but I could
think
see
it's already simple enough.
Yeah.
Okay. To me, the biggest already as game.
Yeah, especially as far as tabletop fantasy role playing type games goes,
Yes.
HeroQuest is very simple, very easy to get into. I think
Yes.
the only thing that scares people, like when I try to introduce people to HeroQuest that have never played it before, they just see the price point and they're like, "Whoa, it's $135 for this huge box. I don't know if let me test it out first." Like they're not sure because of the price point. Like they're used to games being like $50. I mean, unless they're the type of person that goes to your friendly local game shop and, oh yeah, I can get Warhammer for $250. I can get this other game for $200. HeroQuest for $135. What a bargain! I'll get that too. It's a different mindset.
Yes.
That sort of hobbyist game collector versus somebody who's just like, well, I've heard of Monopoly and like Catan and what's this HeroQuest thing all about? Do I really want to spend $135? So that could be a way for them to get their foot in the door with people to say, I mean, assuming it's cheaper. I guess we can't necessarily
like
assume that.
A product that give an idea how it is the game, so the people that never play it, they can get a little taste of the game, and if they like it, they would buy the big box.
Yeah, and they could sweeten the deal by including maybe a couple exclusive figures in there or something, so that hardcore people like us
for the other people, they already have everything.
Yeah, well, because if you buy the starter kit, like what are you going to do? Sell it on eBay and then buy the game system? No, you're probably going to keep it, right? So you take whatever is in the one box and add it to what you've already got. Like, oh, I've got a few extra monsters now. I got a few extra heroes, whatever it might be. Extra dice. Could be anything.
That's why I don't believe in this box we're going to see the board. Just some tiles. Because you need just tiles connected with doors. Don't need more for a quest, for a small quest with 3 rooms.
Yeah, and if you have, it could be even a small number of them. Because I remember that interview with Stephen Baker where he's saying like one of the early versions of HeroQuest was like advanced HeroQuest with all these tiles, and like kids were confused, like, well, how do I use these?
And I mean exactly that.
Yeah. Even though nowadays you've got so many more games that use that format. I mean, Betrayal uses that. I don't know. There's other games that use that sort of, format where you lay out room by room. OrcQuest does it. So maybe people are ready to see that, rather than, I've got to have a large, double or quad fold board to understand how to play this. Well, anyway, I see Jacer's here. He's been waiting patiently. So welcome to HeroQuest fans. Jacer, do you have any comments about the news before we get started on our quest here today? Well, maybe his microphone is still muted.
Or he's still driving.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, drive safe there. Yeah, I realize timing-wise, it's like, it would probably work better if I know, Bohemius, you've got a totally different time zone than us, but it's like it'd be nice to start later for Jacer, but then, like, I try to wrap up. Yeah, we make it work. Yeah. So anyway, I guess the thing.
Yeah, we do. I just can't take an hour and 15 minutes off of work every Friday.
Yeah,
I don't have that much time.
Just get your boss on the phone. We need to have a talk with him. Listen, or her. Just kidding. Yeah, you gotta make that money somehow. I gotta earn a living.
Yeah, so like sometimes I only take off like 15 minutes early. Sometimes I try to leave half an hour early and 45 minutes or an hour. But yeah, I can't leave that early every time.
You've seen. I mean, we're flexible. We can fit you in whenever. We had Glasgow join at the very end of a quest, and we got him in there. It's fine.
Right. Well, I saw you post at 3:15 or whatever. I think for yesterday or whatever that we're starting at 3:15 or whatever. Or it's 2:15 for you, but 3:15 for me. So I was like, okay, good. All right, so I'll just leave 45 minutes early, or you know what I mean, and try to
Unfortunately, I've been running late a lot lately. It's one thing after another. It's either a family event or we're having like internet problems or some other technical thing goes wrong. But that's just That's just how it is.
Yeah, most of the time I have my work done by 3:30. So usually I have finished everything up, and then it's just a matter of me taking the truck back and emptying it out and everything like that and cleaning up, and then I'm out of there. So sometimes it is a half hour, 45 minutes where I'm really not doing anything. And it's like, all right, cool. Like I'm just waiting to punch out. So there's a couple times I'll just be sitting in my truck waiting to punch out.
I want to acknowledge the people in the chat. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat at the moment. Fubar is here. X-Man47. I'm excited for this. Amalgamash is here. Multiple boxes even. Yes.